retired DGP Haryana, Colonel Daljit Chima, Shri Vivek Attri ji, IAS. Today I am here to speak with you on what civil services are and how to get into them, how to get into the civil services. So during course of 6 slides, I will tell you about the origin of civil services, then the nature in the independent India, then the changing nature of services now, and what is the future likely to be, and how do you prepare for that. See, as Kapoor sir was telling us, first you need to, if you want to prepare for a service, you need to have a clarity of what that service is all about. So on that, you need to have clarity. I suggest that you read about these services. What are these services? UPSC holds a combined test for around 28 services. There are many services in this list, and generally we know only of IAS, IPS or income tax or railway service, but there are many services in all the central services are included as part of the civil service. So you should, it's like if you want to play the role of an actor, you learn about that, what that role is. You study about that role, and then you go and conduct yourself in that role. So civil services is also like a personality test of yours. And as I was saying, civil services, especially those dealing with the public, IAS, IPS or revenue, these services also provide you a platform to play a very important role in the society. You become agents of change in the society, and therefore you become the life as such becomes enriched, because you are always interacting with the people, you are dealing with people problem, you are learning so much about life. It becomes a sort of enriched life you lead. Let me just put a introduction to these services and go through the whole presentation in a systematic manner. See, civil services in India got introduced during the British period. The concept of civil services came in during the British. And there was one thing about the British which we do not appreciate. They came here and transformed this country from a traditional culture to a modern culture, a forward-looking culture. And they believed in certain value system, and it was with that value system that they introduced civil services. What Kapoor sir was telling about Pakistan, that traditional concept of that somebody who is a king, his son will be a king, somebody who is a jamidar, his son will be a jamidar, that system was shattered by the British, and they introduced the concept of meritocracy. The meritocracy was that you can be born anywhere in any place, still you can, by dint of your hard work and merit, rise up. So civil services were a new introduction. They were the wheel, they were the fulcrum on which they tried to transform the society from the divine right of kingship, which was earlier there in India, they introduced a merit-based system. So it is a merit-based system which they introduced, and they introduced with their value set that you can make a change in the society and there needs to be certain change agents. So civil servants were the change agents they introduced. Then while they were the colonial people, they had their own views. But after independence, the nature of civil services has also changed. As now what has happened is that while earlier the value system was decided from the top and there was a mission kind of a statement that these are things we have to do. But as democracy came in after the independence and as democracy is sinking in, the issues are not decided at the top, but issues are generated in the public. Because of the expansion of media, issues are thrown up from the public, and the role of the civil servant has also changed in that context. Now you are not only trying to implement the things which you have from the top, but you also have to manage the issues which arise in the public. So that has changed. Earlier we had government which was controlling each and every activity of our life. Now, after liberalization, after 91, things are changing. Things are moving towards where many of the things are decided outside the government. And the number of things which are decided outside the government are influencing the government also. So you cannot be oblivious to the things which are decided outside the government. The business is growing, the economy is growing, large corporations are coming up. So these large businesses, large corporations also exercise, because of their economic power, they also exercise an influence on the policies of the government. So in that sense, the role of civil services is changing. And in this, what is happening is that government is becoming more of a facilitator. Government is moving into a real, as you see in the developed countries, government is more into not a regulatory framework, but more into a facilitation mode. Their job is to ensure that right kind of environment, right kind of regulatory regime is there so that the business can grow. This is the ideology in which we are living now. So what is, how is it affecting the civil services? Earlier what we had was journalists coming, people with very general sphere of knowledge. You knew something about something, everything, and you could be in civil services. Now government is also becoming a government of the experts. So government is also considering lateral entry into civil services. People who are good in some field, they move into government and they make the policies for the government. Lateral entry has also opened up, and one doesn't know in times to come what kind of civil services we will have, or whether the government will go in for more kind of experts in the government. This is the what, and also there has been while in the earlier times there were, I have already alluded to it, while in earlier times there were specific centers of power, like Kapoor sir was telling you had a flag on your car, you had a star on your car, or Mr. Attari was sitting next to me. He told, like, you had a red beacon on your car. You were the person in the system. But slowly that thing is going away. Now we are not allowed to carry a red beacon on the car. We are more of a public servants now rather than being the rulers. So all this is changing, and it is in this kind of atmosphere that we need to understand what the civil services are today, and then how we have to prepare for them. So what are the civil services as per today? One thing about civil services today is that you are one connected to the society at all times. You have to be one with the society. You have to have a feel of the times. You have to have a proper understanding that what is happening in the society, what is the society expecting of the government, what kind of government are they choosing, what do the people want as such. Only if we understand what the people want and what the government is expected to deliver can we find a role for ourselves in the government. So what is the kind of expectation that civil servants today need not be somebody who is isolated from the society, but he has to be in sync with the society. He has to understand the society and then work with the society, work in a democratic setup. So how do you prepare for this kind of service? Now there are, I'll just move to the exam process. The exam process consists of three processes, three steps are involved in the exam. One is your preliminary exam, second is your main written exam, and third is your interview. So all these things are interrelated to each other. It is not that you prepare for one and you can ignore the other one. So first be very clear, Kapoor sir said about the focus, be very clear that this is where I want to be. I have seen many of my friends who were doctors, brilliant doctors, engineers, but just because there is a glamour associated with civil services, they appeared in civil services, many of them did make it into the proper IAS, IPS, but their heart was not into it. They only kept comparing themselves with their colleagues who became brilliant doctors in America or brilliant engineers with Google, and the kind of facilities and the kind of salary they are earning. So their life as such became, they did not get so much from the life as such. Civil services, as boy here was asking about the leisure, civil services, especially with respect to the two top services, it's a way of life. It is not that you can decide on your leisure time on your own. It is part of your personality. It's not that you won't have your own time. You will have your own time, but that certainty about this being my own time and I will not do any work during this time is not there. It's a way of life. You work sometimes on some days you will have no work, you will have a relaxed day, but suddenly you will find that on a Sunday new issues crop up and your Sunday is not a Sunday then. You cannot be one is once you become a public servant, you are a public servant. You cannot just say that today is my off day and I will not work today. So coming back, the three processes involved: first, have a clear focus that you want to be in the civil services. Second, once you are clear in your mind that this is what you want to do, as Kapoor sir and Chima Saab was saying, once your clarity of thought is there, then things start falling in place for you, and the things become available to you. And the most important aspect in this is selection of your subject for the exam. During our times we had 2 subjects, now there is only 1 subject in the main. So you should be clear, you should have a love for that subject. It is not just an academic subject, like your preparation about that subject has not to be purely academic. I have seen people who were toppers in university in that paper, but they could not clear the civil services, and their marks in that option were not comparable to somebody who was an engineer or a doctor. He took up history, he scored more marks than a person who was postgraduate in history, because civil services is how you apply that subject to the society as such. You are not only studying it for an academic paper, you are studying for a practitioner of that subject. You should be able to relate whatever subject you choose. You should be able to relate that subject to some aspect of the society. For instance, now medicine has been allowed as a subject. Engineering was allowed during our times. These subjects, though at first instance they do not feel like they have any relevance, but given the role of the government, these subjects also have acquired a relevance for the government. So if you are going to be a health secretary, if you are going to be in the field of public health, so a doctor can be an asset for your being a doctor qualified in medicine, can be an asset. So whenever you decide on the subject, decide on that subject, the subject which you love. Because if you love that subject, then when you study that subject, you will start getting new insights into that subject, and you will also start getting that ability as to how that subject relates to the day-to-day life, how it relates to the society, what role you will be able to get the special insights. So this is one. Choose your subject with not that you have studied that subject, but if you have love for that subject. And if you have love for that subject, slowly you will keep getting knowledge of that subject. And take time to select your subject. After you have selected your subject, do not cut off yourself from the society as such. Keep reading newspapers, keep seeing television, because all these things are not different from civil services. There will be many things which will be of help to you in your preparation if you are say watching what kind of movies are being made in the society, what kind of TV serials are getting popular. They will give you new insights, and these things will be helpful to you in the interview, because interview, it's a one-to-one interaction, so your personality clearly shows up in the interview. As far as